This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is Ivan Curtis, aka OG King Curt. What's going on?
A lot, man. A lot. As we was talking previously, I mean, it's good times, but it's some bad times too. So, but just happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you coming on. Let's just before we even go into your story, let's just go into like how are you feeling right now, and like what do you think? You think there is going to be change? Like what's going on in your head?
At times, I find myself all over the place. I mean, it's you're focusing on yourself, you're focusing on your career, your family, friends, and different things like that. But you can't ignore a lot of the changes that's going on in the world. And some of us, it's been existing. It's been blanketed a little, and then boom, here we are again. For a lot of people that's even much older than me, reliving some times that they experienced back 40, 50, 60 years ago. So it's definitely a time. I mean, we've been dealing with a pandemic, and not only that, but just a lot of acts of violence, and it's just tough. I mean, to inhale all in at once with everything that's going on, and a lot of it's out of our control.
Yeah, definitely. What are some things that like you would want to see change?
I mean, just we talk about racism, social injustices, and different things of that nature. It's just certain things that we get two different versions. We'll see, we talk about criminal backgrounds and different things like that, but we'll watch one person commit a crime and, pretty much hand slap, not too much happens. But then we'll watch a person of color commit a similar or the same crime, and it's their life, or they get thrown the book, and it's like, that's where we're losing justice and hope in our government officials and everybody that controls that. I mean, I think that's the thing. I mean, I'll never advocate for anybody that's doing wrong, whether they're black or white. Mm-hmm. But all I'm saying is, treat the crime the same. I mean, a criminal is a criminal. It doesn't matter what they look like, what color they are, or anything like that. But I mean, just show us that everybody will get the same treatment. I mean, we talk about equality. That can't just be for the good. Yeah. It has to be for even things that happen that's bad.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just like I'm not no expert on no police laws or anything, but it's just like the kid that was just carrying the gun, just walking right by him. Like that doesn't even make sense in general for anybody to do that. That's like, I don't understand that.
I agree. I'm with you too. I mean, I don't have a law degree. I don't know I don't know everything to and fro, but I know that it's been kids of color that has been killed for less.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely want to do some research on I don't know if there is official rules. I guess in each state there is different rules, I'm assuming, for police. But so, yeah, I definitely want to educate myself on that just so I could speak on it more and not sound possibly dumb.
Yeah, and to finish that off is like, that's really the key to me is first bringing awareness, and then the next thing is educating yourself, and after educating, finding a mutual understanding of what the situations are. And I think if we can do that collectively, then that's when we can start creating a change that I would like to think most of the world wants to see.
Yeah. I think I think all the states have different gun laws, and I think those definitely have to be looked at, especially now.
Right.
I know that was a deep conversation, but going into your career, just tell me a little bit about yourself. I know, actually, I thought you grew up in New York, but you just told me previously you grew up in Ohio. So tell me about a little bit like growing up in Ohio and basically how you got involved in gaming.
I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, born 1978. OG
King Curt.
Yeah, one of the the older figures in the gaming community, especially 2K. Started playing games as a young kid. You know, I was an athlete, but when I wasn't at practice or playing games or working out or whatever, I just love to play video games. And I started out playing. Atari, floppy disk games, different things like that, and you know, it grew over time. And basically, the 2K was born right when I graduated high school, 1997. And then I went off to the military. And that's when I really got into gaming because, you know, when I went to the Navy, I was in engineering, worked as a machinist mate. And when we wasn't working, everybody was playing. Like, we was either playing cards, dominoes, some people played chess, and then the infamous PlayStation. That was our console of choice at the time. I think it was a PlayStation 2. And we played live religiously over and over. And then eventually when Dreamcast came out, 2K became a game of choice. And I played it heavy. Honorable discharge 2001, came home back to Ohio. You know, I was married at the time. I got married during my stint in the military. And then when I came back home, I got into nursing, worked as a STNA for years, and but I still kept playing the game. So fast forward to 2011, I think, right when they started the crew mode of 2K. Now, mind you, by then I done converted from Dreamcast to Xbox 360. Didn't know anything about online gaming or nothing. Didn't have a Xbox Gold or nothing. And one night, I had it was an employee that I was training, and he knew everything. Like, he was a big time gamer. And in one night, he taught me, you know, how to get online, how to do everything I needed to do and to create a player for the crew mode. Because basically that was like one of the big my player modes where you develop your player, you can team up with 4 other people and play 5v5 against other people. So he taught me everything I needed to know. From that point, I started playing online. And then 2014, 15, they came out with the Jordan Rec Center. And that's when it really kind of took off. I mean, you had more access to creating your player. You can all go into the rec, meet up and play against other teams and different things like that. But it was organized leagues going on as well that a lot of people didn't know about. But I searched a lot of game forums and different things like that. So I ended up registering one. For one, I got a group of guys together. We was playing competitively in those leagues. And I came across another league where I met now to this day, one of my best friends, Tawan Fairley, known as LT in the gaming community. He's the GM and coach for Mavs GG of the 2K League. We crossed paths. We started playing together. And then one day, out of the blue, he just said, Curt, I think I can run a league better than all these leagues that's going on. And I said, you do? And he was like, yeah. And I said, what do you want to call it? He said, the MPBA. And I said, what's that stand for? He said, the My Player Basketball Association. And I said, well, if you want to do it, you know, I'll help you. You know, I started working in the league initially that I started playing in. He was working in the league that he was playing in. So we put both our minds together, started the MPBA. By 2016, it was the most popular league to play in. All the top players from game battles that played game battles, they played 2K at the Pro-Am level, because Pro-Am mode really took off in 2016. Mm-hmm. And from that point forward, it opened up a whole new world that we didn't even, we never thought it would be. Now to date, that put me in position, put both of us in position. In the first year of the NBA 2K League, we worked with Bucks GG as a draft analyst. And that was basically like our foot in the door with the 2K League. And then the following year, He was hired by Mavs GG, and I was hired by Nets GC, which is the affiliate of the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, that's dope. Well, let me take it back to you were in the Navy. Like, what was your overall experience like being in the Navy?
To be honest, I loved it for real. I mean, you got to travel. The only thing about it, the only thing I really used to complain about was that you get to go and see all these beautiful places. But if it's not with the people that like you really want to be with, it kind of like it dulls the experience a little bit. But overall, just the experience that I gained is like something that you can't buy. I mean, it's something that you just go through, and I just think it helped me a lot, just being able to deal with a lot of adversity, because it's a lot that goes on from time to time, and you have to be able, ready to think on the spot, react on the spot. And the one thing about it that I really loved about the unity that the military provided, because you will find yourself in situations that can be a matter of life and death.
Mhm.
And at that point, it doesn't matter what color you are, what race, what nationality, you're gonna band together to make sure you all safe. And because I'll tell you the funny experience. I went through boot camp, went through A school, went to the fleet. I was on the USS Ponce LPD 15. Don't ask me how I remember that, but it's something I think I'll never forget. We were going out on our first run and first deployment, and we had a fire drill. And during this fire drill, everybody's running like it's mad chaos. Like, and I'm young, like I'm 18, like I'm like fresh. So I'm looking around, I'm panicking and everything, and trying to hurry up and get dressed. And then at the end of it, I didn't get dressed in the amount of time that it actually takes that you're supposed to get dressed in. But I was like, afterwards, I asked one of the chiefs, and I was like, man, like, why does everybody have to suit up? Like, I was an engineer, and I wasn't a fireman, because, you have firemen on the ship. And he said, Curtis, when you out on the water, there's no fire department coming to save you. He said, and I said, damn, you're right. I'm young. I wasn't thinking. And because I'm talking about clerks. Everybody was suiting up, getting ready to fight the fire. And I'm thinking like, well, we got firemen, but it's like, no, it's all hands on deck. And so that type of unity and experiences and different things like that has definitely translated into a large part of my work ethic and my mindset as far as working together with other people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, those are definitely dope stories. What did that teach you, and how did that develop you into the person you are today?
It's basically you in life, you're gonna deal with a lot of shit, man. It's a lot of things are gonna be thrown your way, and how you respond most of the time determines whether you received what you're looking for, and sometimes that you don't. And I think for me, I learned to really deal with things more on a logical level. And really, I try to pride myself on thinking situations out thoroughly before I reply or react. And I think that's one of the qualities that I think a lot of people who do happen to like me, that's one thing. Because I'm pretty much always on the up and up, and I'm pretty flatline. I think a lot of times my demeanor, that laid back, nonchalant, and then you add my voice, a lot of people think like, man, he don't care. He must don't care, or whatever. But that's not the case. It's just, I think as I'm getting older, I try not to stress myself out now. It's a cliche term that we use in the 2K community, but it's universal. It's just control what you can control, and that's really what I try to focus on. I mean, if I can't, if I only do what I can do, and that's pretty much the code that I live by.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. Just talking calmly, and so because people sometimes are like, "Yeah, why aren't you excited?" Or why aren't you? I'm just chilling. I don't know. just the
Right.
way I talk. Like, I don't know. You want me to talk differently? You want me to be real, or like you want me to be like fake? I don't understand.
Right. No, I agree. It's sometimes I talk to my assistant a lot, who's also our social media manager, and I say, man, I think when I look at myself on camera, I look so dead and boring sometimes. But it's like, yeah, Kurt, you do sometimes, but the message
Yeah.
is the key, and I just take it and roll with it.
Nah, basically, I already could tell just your personality just by based on your tweets and just like just supporting everybody pretty much.
Yeah, I just think it's important. Like, I mean, like I mentioned to you earlier, I mean, like, I don't understand why it's so hard for people to be happy for one another, to get along. I mean, I think what we do sometimes as people is we try to control the feelings and actions of others
Mhm.
instead of seeking understanding. I'm more when I see somebody maybe lashing out or anything like that. I'm trying to figure out what's wrong, like what are the reasons for them doing that. And I think once you do that, then you can have a mutual understanding between each other.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's one reason why I like doing podcasts because I like asking people a lot of questions. Like even before, like I always knew you from doing the show or Renee, but I was just like, oh, who are these guys? And then look them up and research. And then I was like, oh, he's like, that's dope. Like he's the coach of the Nets gaming team and GM. So actually going into that, I know I know you already told me like how you got it, but so what do you got? What like explain to me that people don't know, like what's your job description for that?
Man, it's a long list, but in short terms, it's basically I am responsible for the everyday actions and functions for NetsGC. I assist with partnerships and management between obtaining and dealing with brands and getting sponsorships for SGC. I'm responsible for the team, of course, and selecting players, managing those players, and just overall building the NetsGC brand and making sure that the players are getting or provided uh, the best of what they need in order for them to perform. That comes from down to like his in terms of selecting housing. The players that we draft, they move in our market area here in New York.
Mm-hmm.
They're provided with housing for the 6 months. It's perks involved. I mean, here and there with team dinners. Obviously, if the world was in normal rotation, they would attend games, concerts, and sometimes as much as boxing matches, different things. That's all provided at the Barclays Center, and even some of those things beyond. Helping them, just overall. We have a PR staff that provides media training for them. When they get interviews and different things of that nature. Obviously, YL Ancuni is the assistant general manager. He assists me as well every day. And he, like I mentioned, he's also the social media manager. So he creates a lot of the content, make sure that the players are in tune with what he wants and needs for our team. Because content is a big thing in esports, as you may know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the attractive piece that we have that's appealing to a lot of our sponsors because it provides that visual engagement for their product. So just a lot of things of that nature. But it's just if anything that says an SGC, I'm not too far away from providing a service for it.
Yeah. What about does it work like a regular team where could you trade players?
Yeah. Obviously, like
Wait, so
this
you
is
could trade your game your your players?
Yeah, I mean, for those who may not be familiar with the NBA 2K League, it's six person rosters. Could be male or female if they, happen to be drafted, but they control their own players. 5v5. They play as their own avatar. So it's physically a person. So yes, trades. We do have trade windows. Obviously, the pandemic affected a lot of that this year, but we are given assets, a certain number of assets, and we can use those assets towards trades and different things of that nature. So yeah, it's basically the virtual form of the NBA.
Just it's just so crazy to me because it's like, growing up, it's like I always say like the esports is blown up so much, but just like growing up when your parents told you like get off the video games, and now it's like an actual career.
Hey, well, imagine me.
Yeah, I
At
know.
the
That's
time, I was 35 when everything got the kick cooking for me. Now, and I was a high school basketball coach. I worked as an STNA for 13 years, but then in between, I was a manager at a group home for 3 years. So I was still actively like doing a lot of different things while I was running our gaming and leagues and tournaments. So I was, I was always doing something and still making sure I was providing income and taking care of my family. But gaming was just something that it never died in me. It kept it in me, and here we are. Like I said, a lot of people was like, man, all you do is play the game. Like they didn't realize I was running a tournament and league circuit. They thought I was just sitting there playing all day long. And once they seen I made it basically to the NBA, they was like, now they take it serious. Like, now it's no longer a joke.
So did you ever think this was possible, like to basically have video games, esports, like as a full-time job?
No, like nah, like I mean, with the nah, never. Like I mean, it's crazy. I still, like I said, every day or every other day, I wake up and I'm like, I can't believe it. Like I mean, I literally can't believe it. I mean, the experiences that I had, the people I get to work with, that I can't even tell you the countless knowledge that I've gained since working for an NBA organization, and just what I love about Brooklyn. I can only speak about Brooklyn, and this is no knock to any other organization or anything, but all I know is Brooklyn, and what I love is that everybody works together to get the job done. Like, and it can't. I spoke about that earlier with my military experience, and that's literally what it is. I mean, we have a lot of things. I love our partnership team because they're go-getters, and we brainstorm, we come up with a lot of good concepts, and they go out and make things happen. And they're a large part of our success and what we look for in building the brand. So, you know, there's countless guys. Nick Haney, Seth, Pat, Jeff, Ryan, like, they all play a part, even PR with Rachel, Kirsten. And I mean, like everybody plays their part in helping Nest GC be what it is. And I just love that aspect.
Yeah. What advice would you give to a gamer that wants to be a professional gamer?
Whew. I mean, I think, obviously our league, you have to be at least 18 years old or 18 years old and have graduated, or 18 years old and your graduating class has graduated. It's amateur leagues that go on and are being played. The biggest part of the qualification for the 2K league, every year, the first part of the qualifications typically go out in, I don't know how it's going to go this year, so just bear with me, but this has been standard protocol since the league has started. It'll go out normally like November. You'll have a certain time frame to complete whatever the qualifications are, and that's on PlayStation or Xbox. Then once you do that, complete that, then you'll be given a tab to compete in the combine. And in the combine is qualifications where you have to play at least a minimum number of games. They take that and basically, this is the part where it gets a little tricky. You do that, it doesn't guarantee you a spot in the draft pool, but what it does is makes you eligible to be selected for the draft pool. So you'll complete that. You'll get an interview from the league, and then you'll go into a pool of players, and nobody knows the algorithm that's used, but they'll cycle all those players that competed, and eventually they'll pull 150 to 200 players out of that pool, and it'll make you draft eligible. I know the past season, it was 100. I think it was like 250 players, and then they reduced it down to 150 players, somewhere in that area. And that was the draft pool. Plus, the players who don't get protected are retained from the following season, and that's what completes our draft pool. It's the new incoming players plus the players who are not retained or protected from the following season.
So are these players is there only like 1-year contracts, or there's multi-year contracts too?
Just 6 month contracts.
Okay, so like every year the team could possibly be new.
Yes.
Okay.
Now it's 2 phases in the off season. Like we're obviously in our off season now for us, but you have your protection period before the expansion draft, where you can keep up to two to 3 players if you choose, minimum 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the phase after that is retainment, where those players who wasn't drafted in the expansion draft, they can go back. You can go back and re-sign those players if you choose. And if not, then they just go back they'll go into the draft pool for the upcoming season.
I gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know what the contracts and stuff were like that. So that's dope to know.
Yeah, you can keep now. Let me add to that. You can keep, up to 3 to 4 players. Once you get to that 3rd and 4th player, what you do is you lose draft picks for the upcoming draft.
Oh,
so
okay.
I mean, and it's changing every year. So I'm just speaking vaguely on it, but I like it. It's became more realistic. So
yeah,
works out.
How many teams are there right now?
23 teams. It's 22 NBA affiliated teams, and we have our first non-North American team this year in Genji from Shanghai.
Okay, that's dope. You think the other teams are going to get one? Like the other NBA teams are going to get teams?
I believe so, but if they don't, it's been shown that it's a vast interest of eSports organizations that's looking to get a team in the 2K league.
Now, what about, could these players be on like one of those like clans too, or no?
Yeah, it's a lot of it's a lot of players that's in the league that are in clans. I mean, obviously, it's while they're in season, it's a lot of things that they can't do.
Yeah.
Traditionally, but in the off season, a lot of them go back and play with each other and different stuff like that.
I gotcha. See, I'm new to all this, so I got to ask the questions.
Oh no, ask away.
All right. So, are you ready for the average to savage questions? They're fun questions.
Hey, let's do it.
All right. I usually ask this, but who would you want to do like a eSports jersey swap with? Any clan or like any 2K team, anything?
I never thought about that. That's an interesting question. I guess, I keep it relative to my eSport because it is some people that I look up to. I mean, one of our better coaches in the 2K league is Jeff Terrell, known as White Kite. He's the head coach and general manager for 76ers GC, and he's been one of the most successful coaches in the league. So I guess if I had to do a swap, it'd probably be with him.
All right, what about the NBA?
You know what? Ironically, I want to do a jersey swap with Karis LeVert because he's from Ohio too, and we both employ for Brooklyn, and I haven't met him yet, so that would be a perfect person.
So I know we talked about a lot of stuff, but what's something that people don't know about you?
That I write poetry. I think I've been contemplating whether I was going to do some spoken word on maybe one of my podcasts or something like that. But it's definitely, I got it from my mom. My mom was a poet. She died when I was young, but I got to read a lot of her work, and she was pretty deep. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. See, that's it. I don't know if that's an exclusive, but
Nah, it is. You know what? That's fine. I just was thinking about that. I've never mentioned
I got the. I'm super satisfied now.
that. Yeah, like I was thinking, like out of all the interviews and everything I've done, like I've never said that to anybody. Like, it was dope.
What's your favorite song right now?
I'm an R&B guy, believe it or not. Well, actually, most people probably would think I'm probably R&B, but Sammy has a song called "Peace" that I like. It's a nice little love ballad. It's my favorite song right now.
All right, I'll take it. So I make a playlist with all the people's songs that people say.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. So it'll be on there now.
What's it on? What app is it on?
Spotify.
I got it.
I haven't updated it since I don't know, episode something, but 80 something. But I got to update it.
Okay.
All right. Well, last one you could, if you want to answer it or not. My last question usually is to everybody is, do you have any questions for me? Or a question?
Yeah, of course I would. You know, you manage a nice roster. Like, I mean, and you know, one of them is my fan favorite, obviously Renee, and it's like how did you come across the majority of the people that you manage? Like, what was that interaction like?
Basically off social media. I mean, I started my brand in 2011 just as a Twitter page, and then I got into the clothing, and then that's pretty much how I was doing influencer marketing before influencer marketing was even a term, which is like pretty funny because I just thought about it like pretty much like last year that was what I was doing, even though I knew what I was doing, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like that word wasn't.
Didn't have a title for it.
Yeah. So that, and then just build relationships from there, and yeah, and then pretty much was doing stuff like this and getting people interviews, and I didn't realize that was like a job basically. So it was like, yeah, so it was like I was like helping them out, but I knew I was helping them, but I didn't know that could be a career path basically.
See, I love that. I mean, for me, you know, I'm single now. I've been married twice. My last marriage, it used to be funny, and mind you, I'm still friends, and we still cool with all of them, so we still talk a lot. And but one of the things that we used to go back and forth about is she used to be like, you know, my nickname was Chunky. She'd say, Chunky, like, you only do stuff that you good at. Like, you don't do anything to like challenge you. And I used to be like that sound pretty smart to me. Like I said, like, so you want me to go out and struggle and to try to appease you? Like, I'm like, so what I'm saying in terms is like I've always believed in operating off passion and what you love to do. I swear to this day, I have not, since I left the military, not saying that I was dissatisfied with the military because I loved every second while I was in. But when I got out, I told myself a few things. Said, one, I'm never going to work first shift because getting up at 4 in the morning was not it. So when I got out, I only did work that I wanted to do. And I've been doing that ever since. So it's like, you know, because my thing was you can get a job that pays more money, you hate it, or you can get a job that you truly love and you can work double, triple, and it won't phase you because you love doing it. And you'll make up the money on the back end. And that system has worked for me. Probably doesn't work for everybody else, but for me, that's been one of my keys to success. I honestly believe it.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you on that because I've taken freelance jobs where it's like maybe it's more money or maybe it's less money, but it's like what I like to do, so I don't really care because it's like I'm doing it, and it doesn't. I mean that, but then sometimes I'm thinking I'm like, how am I getting paid this much and only this much for this? But it's like, I mean, there's still dope things, so it's like whatever. And the other thing, I don't know if people ever tell you this, but a lot of people always tell me like, why are you doing so many different things? Like I don't, and they're like, you should focus on one thing, and I'm like, absolutely not. Like I'm not focusing on one thing. I don't get that either. And
Agreed.
it's literally, and I'm only saying that because somebody just DM'd me the other day when I posted like all the things I do, and they said, "Why aren't you focusing on one thing?"
I think throughout time, we've been taught to think and do things that are completely inaccurate. I mean, for me, like I said, I mean, when I was younger, I had no clue of what I wanted to do, but internally, I felt like I can do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what I wanted to do, but I felt like I had some great traits that would allow me to be successful one day. Didn't know what it would be. I always thought I was great at organizing, good at managing things, and that was one of the particular things about our gaming league and tournaments, that it was completely organized and structured, and I put that in everything I do. So me personally, I knew one day I wanted a podcast. My thing is sometimes it's just about timing and different things. But other than that, I just believe, man, I don't ask a lot of questions, and I see like I can feel you the same way. You just, if you want to do it, you do it, and you learn. You learn along the way. I mean, and that's truly what I've been doing. I mean, I think I attribute growth to everything I do, because a lot of projects I start, they may not start out the best, but I guarantee as the momentum picks up, it gets better and better with time.
Yeah, and a podcast is a perfect example because literally everybody has one now.
True. I mean, true. I think the thing about it for me, I started doing the OG 2 cents statements on Twitter. It vastly took off, and I've been doing it for almost 2 years now. But see, the thing about it for me and being a little strategic is that I didn't start doing the podcast right away. I said, once I seen it picking up momentum, I said, you know what? They probably want to know what I mean by what I'm tweeting. And, on Twitter, you can't really tell. You don't have, it's not enough time in the day to tell people exactly everything and how you feeling when you tweet it. So I said, if I do it in a show platform, then people will truly get an understanding of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, definitely. All right, last one, bonus question. Who's your dream interview to get on your podcast?
Man. It's a lot. You know what? I mean, I'm gonna keep it in house because there's some people that just truly impress me. Like, I mean, our owner Joe Tsai. Like, because I watch the work that he does, and I've had, he was at the Christmas party that we had, and obviously you see a ton, like everybody, but you don't get to talk to everybody. But he gave a talk, and he told a story, and it really like spoke volumes to me, like somebody who has an extreme amount of wealth and obviously knowledge, but to still kind of make you feel like he's right beside you. And like when you can have that type of impact with the wealth and knowledge and power that he can possess, then like that's intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because you don't always find that in everybody who has what he has. So yeah, I think that's and then right next to him, Sean Marks, because he's an actual GM in the NBA, and I just want to love like what goes on in the mindset of somebody who's actually doing it on the physical level versus me doing it on the virtual level.
That would be dope. That would be connecting the new world with the old world.
I'm working on it.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and could you let the listeners know where they can follow you at?
I'm OG King Curt on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at OG 2 Cents Podcast.
All right, again, appreciate it, and well, good luck next season.
Appreciate it.
Because I know, you got congrats. You got it renewed, right?
Oh, yeah, and I'm breaking this live on your show because I actually just and you know what, man, you get all kind of bonuses here because it was this day last year that I renewed. So, boom, here we are.